joining us right now. Great pleasure to welcome to our program today a woman who's written a very interesting book. It's called 168 Hours. You have more time than you think. We're joined by Laura Vanderkam today from the great city of New York. Laura, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good to talk to you. I had a chance to read through the book when I got it last week, and we all have the same amount of time, but you really make a good case of you have enough time if you really put your mind to it, right? Is that basically the premise?
Exactly. Well, we all have 168 hours a week. The first thing, it's funny that no one really seems to know that. We all say 24/7, and no one ever multiplies it through. But we all have the same 168 hours a week, which raises the question of why some people manage to do so much with their time, and the rest of us maybe do a little bit less. So in this book, I tried to interview a bunch of very successful people who do a lot with their time, have big careers, big families, often get enough sleep and exercise and things like that, and tried to figure out their secrets.
I've always gone kind of by the tenet, the more you have to do, the better time manager you're going to be. When you have very little to do, that's when you kind of get lazier. Have you found that?
That's probably true. I have two small children myself, and I sometimes try to picture how much I could have gotten done before I had them, and then I realized that I just wasn't efficient that much. I wasn't as efficient back then. So it's really forced me to be better about my time.
Tell a little bit about how you put this together. I know you said you interviewed different people. How did you go about that process of doing the research?
Yeah, so to write this book, I did a couple of things. First, I interviewed people who do quite a bit with their time, trying to learn how they manage to fit it all in and often not feel very stressed about their time either. I also drew on data from something called the American Time Use Survey, which is a fascinating data set put together by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's a survey that has thousands of Americans keep track of their time for certain 24-hour periods, and it gives a far more accurate picture of what actually goes on in American life. Much of the things we think we know about American life come from these surveys where a pollster just calls you up on the phone and says, quick, how many hours do you work a week? Well, when you ask that, it's pretty hard to come up with an exact, accurate number. Right off the top of your head, unless you're getting paid by the hour. So this gives a much more accurate representation and shows that a lot of the things we think we know, that we're overworked, that we're sleep deprived, are not so true. And then the final thing I did is I asked a bunch of other people to keep logs of their time to see how they were spending their time, to see if we could figure out ways that they could find space for more of the things they did want and less of the things that they wanted off their plates.
You talk in the book, one of the chapters, and a lot of people out there are kind of going through this. Either they're looking for work, unintentionally perhaps, or not really happy in the job they have, and they feel like their time isn't really being used properly. Talk a little about that. I know you talk about creating the right job for yourself, right?
I really think it's so important to be in the right job, not just because it's fun to whistle while you work, but because there's actually a business case for it. First of all, we know that if you are unhappy in your job, you're probably not going to want to put in extra hours. You're not going to think about the problems that are facing your organization, the problems in your career while you're in line at the grocery store, when you're in the shower. And really in our competitive world, it's the people who put in those kind of extra hours, who really think about these questions hard, who are the ones who are going to get ahead. So it's important to love what you do. It also just has a big effect on the rest of your life. There was a study that came out recently from the University of Maryland that found that unhappy people watch 20% more television than happy people. So if you're not happy in your job, you're going to spend a lot of the rest of the time, the rest of your 168 hours, trying to make yourself happy to make up for that time you're not happy at work. You
also mentioned a list of 100 dreams. People should do that. I like that idea.
Yes, this is a great idea, because one of the things we have to realize with time management, it's not just about saving 5 minutes here or there, trying to figure out how to have more efficient phone calls or run your errands in a pattern where you only have to make right-hand turns. I mean, that can save you a few minutes here and there, but if you don't like your job, for instance, what's the point? Or if you're not having a home life that's fulfilling to you and your family, again, what's the point of saving 5 minutes on your errands? The point of the list of 100 dreams is to make a completely unedited list of anything you think you might like to do or have in your life. So this could be trips you want to take, could be restaurants you want to try, places you'd like to volunteer, books you'd like to read, things you'd like to do professionally, all of these. And the point is to start thinking about what you would like to fill your time with. What do you want to do during your 168 hours? Because once you know that, you can start putting these things on your schedule. You can put some of the ones that don't take too much time or don't take too much money there right away. So when I made this list for myself, I saw that I wanted to have fresh flowers in my office. Well, that wasn't very hard to pull off. I just went out and bought some. I wanted to attend a certain kind of a classical music concert, so I found, I got a nosebleed section ticket for a few weeks from them. That was very easy to do. And those things make you a lot more happy and make you feel like you're using your 168 hours in a way that gets you closer to the life you want.
Yeah, I think you see, I'm sure you've had this happen to you, or you've seen people like this. Everything's so structured down to the second that they may fill their time with doing a lot of work, or they think they're doing things that are fun, but they're so overwhelmed with having to follow a schedule, they don't really enjoy their time. So I think you make the point, enjoy some of those things that you're doing, right?
Exactly, and I don't believe in scheduling things down to the minute. That's certainly, one of the things people ask me when they see that I've written a time management book. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to follow such a strict schedule. Well, I don't either. The point, what I tell people to do is to have very sort of limited ambitions for any given day. To choose maybe 3 to 5 things that are really important to you, things you really want to have happen. These can be 3 to 5 things at work, for instance, and then to try and knock those off during your more productive times, so you're not stuck at the office till 9 p.m. because you haven't figured out a time to do them. Or during the weekend, maybe just choose 3 to 5 things that you'd like to do as a family or personally. It could be as simple as taking your kids to the zoo, getting in a run, and getting to church. There's 3 things that would make a perfectly good weekend right there. And then you can let the distractions of modern life fill in around those priorities.
It's okay to put things off now and then, right?
Yes, exactly.
Procrastination is okay.
The thing is that I was saying that we live in a very distracted world. And so while I don't believe in scheduling things down to the minute, I think it is important to schedule in the things that are most important to us. Because if we don't, they won't happen. Because really all these distractions will just expand to fill the available space. Your email will still be there. The internet will still be there. Television will still be there. So you should take the time to focus on your long-term goals first and then check those things later.
Well, the name of the book is 168 Hours. You have more time than you think. We've been talking with Laura Vanderkam. Laura, do you want to direct people to a website to get more information about you and the book?
Sure. You can come visit me at my168hours.com. That's my168hours.com. We've got stuff there that you can download a time management log, track your time for a while. You can talk with other people who are doing the same, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Great, Laura. It's a pleasure to talk. Always great to talk to somebody from New York, but even if you weren't from there, it was still fun.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being with us.